Welcome to the Groveland Yosemite Gateway Museum. The year 2026 marks the 25th anniversary of the museum in southern Tuolumne County. Located in the heart of Groveland, a mile and a half from its neighbor Big Oak Flat, the Groveland Museum is a community landmark. For a quarter century, it has been the leading source of information about the history of the area, both social and natural, as well as the gateway to the natural wonders of Yosemite National Park. Our story begins much more than 25 years ago. For thousands of years, the Groveland Big Oak Flat region had been the traditional land of the Miwok tribe of indigenous people. Then in 1848, gold was discovered in California. Americans from the eastern United States and the rest of the world entered the area in search of gold. By the 1850s, the mining camps of Big Oak Flat and Groveland became busy gold rush towns. Soon, however, the easy gold was gone, and the boom turned to bust. Nonetheless, the people of southern Tuolumne County persisted and survived. Over the years, the two towns experienced both prosperity and tragedy. Many early buildings were lost to devastating fires, such as the 1863 fire that destroyed all of Big Oak Flat. Tourism eventually began to flourish, confirming Groveland as the northern gateway to Yosemite. The early 1900s brought another boom when Groveland served as the headquarters for San Francisco's Hetch Hetchy Water Project. For several decades, it was the home of hundreds of construction workers and the critical Hetch Hetchy Railroad. By the second half of the 20th century, the two communities had settled into a quiet life, with a core of gold rush homes, businesses, churches, and cemeteries. In 1986, this tranquil scene was disturbed by the final dismantling of a highly visible historical structure located halfway between the two towns. After many years of neglect, with just a few stone walls remaining, the old blacksmith shop, dating back to the 1870s, was torn down completely, and no effort was made to save any relics of its past. Its location at the high point between Groveland and Big Oak Flat punched a gaping hole in the community's awareness of its own history. The loss of the old blacksmith shop, as well as threats to other historical structures, alarmed a group of concerned citizens. They were committed to the idea that the remaining parts of the area's history not suffer the same fate. They began to discuss their concerns among themselves. In 1987, they organized a group to push for historical preservation of the area's special history. The group adopted the name Southern Tuolumne County Historical Society and used the acronym STCHS, pronounced Stitches. Its aim was to preserve the distinctive history of the area south of the Tuolumne River. This encompassed the region from Priest Station to Big Oak Flat and Groveland, and east along Route 120 to the entrance of Yosemite National Park. The founding citizens outlined a far-sighted goal for Stitches that included not only the social history, but also the natural history, the animals, and the environment. The objective was one of action. Not only was history to be preserved, but it would be brought to the community through education and public awareness. This comprehensive vision that guided Stitches from the beginning continues to guide Stitches today. Their first priority was to take a survey of the buildings in Groveland and Big Oak Flat. Stitches contracted for a comprehensive inventory of all buildings along Highway 120 and Main Street. Some were quite historical, others less so, but at least a complete record was made. Next was a decision on how to preserve the area's history and its physical artifacts. They wondered, should we just stop further destruction of historical features? Or should we provide a separate place where historical artifacts could be stored, restored, and viewed? Stitches decided that a place, a building, was needed in the form of a museum. Existing old structures were simply not adequate for the ambitious vision of the society. A new building could be tailored to their specific needs. It also became evident that a museum could be combined with a new library building for the community. Early on, the project became a combined effort to create a museum as well as a shared presence with a new library. The new building could truly become a community space for all to enjoy. To achieve its ambitious goals, Stitches launched a remarkable community campaign that covered a wide variety of projects and lasted many years. Particularly important were a series of fundraising picnics called the Poison Ochres, held throughout the year to raise money and to increase community awareness of the museum appeal. As part of these regular picnic events, volunteers held bake sales, auctions of donated items, and raffles. Entire families came out to enjoy the fun, such as gold panning for the kids. All the while, these events were raising more funds for the cause. In addition, the organizers approached individuals for personal donations. The campaign sponsored a series of music concerts and lectures to bring residents together to make them aware of the project and to raise money at the same time. Popular bands came from all over the state to perform in Groveland to promote the museum's goal. The library also launched its own fundraising efforts with a series of book sales and raffles. As the project took shape, Stitches organizers created a mini-museum, a smaller version of the planned exhibit space that provided a tangible form to the museum idea. The mini-museum helped energize local volunteers and spurred the effort to gather artifacts. It was a place that local residents could visit and visualize the final form of the facility. It also served as a training ground for volunteers to learn how to run a museum. One particularly memorable chapter of Stitch's fundraising campaign is the story of Charles Heath. Charlie raised money by collecting recyclable cans, redeeming them, and giving the proceeds to the museum's fundraising campaign. An entire generation of Grovelanders grew up knowing about Charlie's project and participated in the collection of recyclable cans. Over $40,000 was raised as a result of Charlie's efforts. For good reason, he became known as Charlie the Can Man. A metal sculptured bust of Charlie can be found today displayed in the museum. As the years of fundraising continued through the 1990s, the organizers erected a fundraising thermometer in town so that everyone could follow the campaign's progress. Gradually, the amount donated increased, and the thermometer turned all red. $100,000, $200,000, then $500,000. Ultimately, the campaign raised nearly $1 million in gifts of money, goods, and services. Not a dime came from the government or local taxpayers. It was all from the community and its dedicated citizens. With money in hand, the group hired an architect and a construction company. A site for the museum was provided by the Groveland Community Services District at the main intersection in town where Main Street meets Ferretti Road. In November of 1999, ground was broken and construction work began. The construction of a 3-story building with components for a museum and a branch of the Tuolumne County Library took over a year. As the completion date got closer, museum organizers staged a series of events to build community enthusiasm, such as a champagne gala and a preview soft opening. Finally, the grand opening and dedication of the Groveland Yosemite Gateway Museum took place on May 19, 2001. It was truly a community-wide celebration. After the hard work of construction was complete, Stitches turned to the task of providing the historical content for the building. Volunteers from the board and the community came together to create exhibits. Prominent families loaned materials from their family collections to give a glimpse into the history of the people who came to Groveland in the early days. Other volunteers prepared displays of local natural history, animals and plants. It's a labor of love and one that will never be complete. Even now, new displays of historical interest are regularly added to the museum's collection. Stitches is continuously building on this history of community involvement to forge a prominent place in the local area. The first priority for Stitches is to operate and maintain the Groveland Museum. A key part of this priority is the all-volunteer corps of docents who welcome visitors from all over the globe. They're trained to provide a welcoming presence for guests as well as a knowledge of local history. Without their dedication and commitment, the museum simply could not exist and succeed. We owe them a continuing debt of gratitude. Updating the museum's collection with items from its archives and storage facilities is an ongoing effort. Citizens regularly donate new items so that others can appreciate them. The museum continues to strengthen its role as the leader of local historical preservation. In 2007, a longtime Big Oak Flat family decided that two historical structures that it owned should be preserved under the protection of Stitches. The family donated the buildings to the organization. They are the stone Wells Fargo building dating from the 1850s and the striking wooden Victorian Cobden House from 1900. The gift marked the start of a multi-year process to return the properties to their original condition. Volunteers from Stitches and the community spent countless hours painting, reworking, and restoring 100-year-old wood and removing modern additions. Both buildings are visible from the road where Highway 120 enters the town of Big Oak Flat. Stitches also provides a program of public outreach and education with its Speakers series. Begun in 2010, the event features speakers on topics of local interest, such as the Hetch Hetchy Railroad and Yosemite wildlife. Additionally, Stitches provides educational tours of its museum for school children and other groups upon request. An important part of the museum is the History Resource Center, or HRC, with a focus on family history. People can come and do their own genealogy and research local history, tapping into extensive historical materials such as newspapers and county records, all available in the HRC archives. In addition to its museum-focused activities, Stitches puts on popular community events that help raise the money needed to operate the museum. The Wine Tasting Cruise happens in May and features boating excursions to homes on Pine Mountain Lake where local wines can be tasted. On Labor Day weekends, Stitches sponsors a family barbecue with dinner, live music, and family-oriented activities that include a watermelon eating contest and a tug-of-war for the kids. As we celebrate our building's silver anniversary, it is with pride that we honor those who dreamed the dream that made this museum and library possible. We applaud the ambition and hard work of all those who made that dream a reality. We thank those many, many volunteers who embraced and expanded upon the founder's vision. Building on their foundation and leveraging a passionate community spirit, we can extend this vision even further. We look forward to many more years of sharing our community stories with you.